Hello and welcome. This is Japan, and we have a bit of a tier list here. I got a random tier list and decided to make this a overrated, correctly rated, and underrated thing. I didn't pick these wrestlers; they just said 100 women, so I thought, hey, that's kind of a cool. That's a good amount to see what we can do here. So we have obviously our categories. We also have who, because I'm assuming there might be somebody here. I don't know. I can't really quite see from the looks of it, but there's always a chance that I won't remember or I will be confused that I know exactly who it is. So we got the rating here. So Alba Fire. I feel like she's an easy underrated person. I mean, her gimmick right now with the Secret Herbis is not fun for her, but she's a really good wrestler. If you see any of her NXT UK stuff, I just really wish they would give her something different and let her go on her own and just do something. I really feel like she'd be perfect with these mid card titles to get that fresh start. Next up is Alexa Bliss. I don't really feel like she's underrated or overrated. Like, I think she is kind of one of those perfectly rated people. I mean, everybody knows she's a really good wrestler. I don't think anybody really questions that to a certain extent either. So I think correctly rated is fits. Then we got Ashka, who's one of the goats, and I think everybody kind of views her as a goat. So, like, I would say correctly rated. I mean, it's kind of one of those things where it's like everybody kind of knows. Obviously, she doesn't get as much screen time or maybe as many, I guess, what would be, title runs right now, but she did just come back from injuries. So, you know, there's a possibility that we'll see, maybe another title run very soon, especially with the heavyweight title being available. Next up is Bailey. I think she's somebody that's underrated. I think between the work that she does in and outside of the ring, and especially with her character works, I think she definitely needs to be used more. And her current whatever she's doing with these promos on Raw, I think it's the perfect example that she can has a lot of depth and she can do a lot of stuff. Next up is Becky Lynch. I would almost say underrated to a certain extent, but I think a lot of people do really like her. But I know she's kind of got that whole like Becky Hogan thing that people were on about. So I don't know if you think of her like that, then I think she is definitely underrated. But if you think of her just kind of being like one of the four horsewomen, then I think she's correctly rated. I think corrected. It's probably okay. Next up is Blake Monroe. Honestly, I think her NXT run's been a little disappointing to start off with. I don't think that's anything against her. It's just very soon to really to change. So I guess correctly rated at the moment. I think she definitely could possibly be towards either way, just depending on how this run goes. Candice LeRae, I think, is completely underrated. She's done some really crazy stuff, and just those bumps that she took recently is kind of the prime example. Charlotte Flair, I think, is correctly rated. I mean, everybody really does like Charlotte Flair. I'm not a big Charlotte Flair fan, but I do believe that she is a good wrestler and a good character worker, so it works. Next up is Chelsea Green. I think she's still criminally underrated. I think she brings a lot to one, her character work, and two, her wrestling. So I think it works. Fallon Headley, hmm, that's kind of a weird one because like she's now kind of taking a back seat to Jace. So like I wouldn't really say she's like underrated, but I definitely don't think she's overrated. So like, is she just kind of correct? I guess that works. Julia, I think she's one of those people that is right on that cusp of being underrated if they would just let her go do stuff. But I guess like correctly right now, I honestly, somebody with her, it's so hard because she's so underutilized that it makes it hard. Ivy Nile is definitely underrated. I think she should definitely get more time in the ring because even when she goes out there and just has those random matches, she puts her all in it. Io Sky is always going to be underrated, even though a lot of people have her as the GOAT. She's still underrated from that. She's just amazing. Next up is Izzy Dame. What she's done with the culling and all that, I think, has been underrated. She's had some really good work. She still is coming along, but I think it's still underrated for what they kind of view her as. JCJ, I feel like she's in a weird thing because like if you feel that she's like the champion, and like you're asking if she deserves it to a certain extent, maybe people have the case to say no, but I don't necessarily feel like she's like people rate her super high, but it's hard to say. I guess because she did have the opportunity to be a double champion, I'd say it's a little overrated. But I honestly, I don't know. I'd be fine if somebody said correctly rated. I just don't really know where the baseline is. Jade Cargill, she's kind of slowly like not had what everybody thought she was gonna have. Like I feel like she was such a toted free agent, and they just took forever to pull that trigger, and then they are afraid to pull the trigger. And I don't know if they feel like she still needs work, or I'm not sure. I guess I'd put Cargo a little overrated for the time being, until they kind of decide what to do. Jada Parker, just with Jada Parker's wrestling ability and stuff, I think she's pretty correctly rated. She gets a pretty good run in NXT. Jasmine Nix, I guess correctly. I mean, she's the third of a faction and kind of gets shit on a lot, so I think she's okay. I wouldn't say that's under or over because she hasn't really had the time. Jordan Grace, I like Jordan Grace a lot. I just don't think they know what they're exactly wanting to do with her down in NXT. So I feel like what she's been doing down there isn't been great, but I guess I'd still put her incorrectly rated because she's still good. Like Kyrie Sane's extremely underrated. She should be getting a title run at some point. Like I don't care if it's a U.S. title or a big title. She needs to have that title run on the main roster. I completely agree with putting her in underrated. Next up is Carmen Petrovic. I think correctly rated is fine. She just got her spot on Evolve, so she needs some time. Kalani Jordan, I think, is correctly rated. I think she's pretty solid. James is kind of an interesting one because I didn't really like her in NXT, so when she got the call up, I was a little surprised. So I would have probably said overrated. And now she's been kind of used as a manager, so if that's what they were planning on doing the whole time, it might fit her wheelhouse a little bit better until she gets more time under her belt. I guess I'd put her in the correctly rated at the moment because I don't think anybody's really thinking too much of her. Lash Legend is 100% underrated. She needs a big push. Liv Morgan, I think, doesn't get as much love as she needs. I definitely think she's underrated. Lola Vice, I think she's correctly rated. She's pretty hot right now, and I think it's deserved. Lyra Valkyrie, I honestly think that she could be in the talks for that heavyweight title. That's how well she's been doing. So I'm gonna go underrated until she actually gets those talk. Maxine Dupree, I think is about mid. I don't think she's necessarily. People think she's the best wrestler in the world, but I don't think people think she's terrible. So I think she's just kind of that. Meacham is kind of a weird one because I like Meacham a lot, but I feel like her positioning is always like either extremely rated way too high, like by getting tons of title matches, or extremely low where she doesn't even get a match. So I guess I'd put her in overrated at the moment until they can really just decide where to put her. I think she should be just kind of focused in on certain stuff. I don't know. Next up is Naomi. You gotta go underrated, even though she's just coming off of having to drop the title. I think what she was gonna do with that title would have put her correctly rated, but right now underrated. Bianca Belair, I think with just her strength alone, she's kind of underrated, but obviously can still have more. Um, Natalia, I would put her underrated. I mean, she is like one of those people that have just a ton of time, and they just have not given her that extra time yet. And I think once they do, and maybe give her some type of bigger opportunity, especially what she's been doing in the independent scene, I think will definitely be better. Nia Jax, I think she's correctly rated. I think a lot of people think she's good. Nikki Cross, at the moment, her gimmick's not really to do much. I guess correctly rated. I'm not sure. Nikita Lyons, I kind of think she's overrated. I think she definitely needs some more time, and especially being involved, I think will help. Piper Niven, I think correctly rated, maybe a little underrated, but not too much. Raquel Rodriguez, I honestly think she's correctly rated. A lot of people think she's underrated. I think she's pretty good. She's a tag team specialist. I don't think she should be in that championship talks yet, unless it fits for the storyline. Rhea Ripley, I think she's correctly rated. I mean, a lot of people think she's one of the best, and I would agree. Same thing with Roxanne Perez. She's been a phenomenal rookie year. I think she's correctly rated. Sol Ruka is extremely underrated. She should be on the main roster with how well she's been doing. Stephanie Vicor, I think she's correctly rated. I think everybody knows what a star she is. Tatum Paxley is definitely underrated. With what she actually does in the ring is just phenomenal. If you see her matches, she does really good work. Thea Hill's another one I think that does really good work in there, so I'd pay her underrated. Tiffany Stratton, I'd say correctly rated. I mean, she's a champion right now. Zarya, I'd almost say underrated also because she obviously hasn't got a championship run yet, and I think she's destined to definitely do one. Zelina Vega, I don't know. I think I'd slightly put her overrated. I feel like she's really good on the mic and really good with promos, but her matches have not gone up to that because I think they just don't know how to book her to look dominant. And then when they try to have her come back as the underdog, it doesn't work as well either. So they got to really figure it out. Zoe Stark, I think when she left, she was definitely like just kind of there. I don't think they really necessarily had anything for her. I think that's the majority of the WWE people. So we're going to AEW. This one might be these ones might be a little bit more difficult because I guess it's just more of like my own personal opinion. But I mean all of it is, but some of it is like maybe I think they're underrated or overrated. I'm not really sure. Anna Jay, I think a lot of people like her, and I like her. I don't think she gets as much screen time as possible, like that she needs. So maybe slightly underrated. Athena is definitely underrated. She should be a main roster AEW champion by now. What she did in ROH has been amazing. Britt Baker, maybe slightly overrated. I think she definitely feels like she's probably one of the better women's wrestlers, but I think AEW has a lot better ones. But it doesn't mean she can't get there. Diana Perrazzo, I think she's underrated. I think she had a pretty good run in TNA, but now this AEW run hasn't been as great. But I don't think it's because of her. I think they just need better booking. I figured who this is, so I'm gonna have to go put it in the who. I think it's like Dement. It starts with a D, but I can't even think of it. Emmy Sakura is always going to be underrated. She is one of the goats. Harley Cameron underrated. Just her work for like her character work is underrated as hell. Karashida, I guess what I would say she's underrated just because like they haven't really given her anything lately. I think she's having a visa issue, but she's still one of the best wrestlers on the roster for AEW. Jamie Hayter, I think correctly rated. I think everybody really likes her. Um, Julia Hart, I think she's solid, so I would say correctly rated. Camille, I think, is kind of underrated. They've really never used her the way that they should in AEW. I want to say is that Kira Hogan? I don't know. I'm gonna go down to the Who because I'm not 100% sure. Chris Stanlander is definitely underrated. I think she really should have had a better push. I mean, she had a TBS championship, but I think like they definitely could have had a better go of her in the top belts. This is another one I'm not 100% sure. I think it's Gray as her last name, but I'm not 100% sure. Another person. I figured I know most of the AEW people, but I'm not 100% sure. I feel like I like vaguely know who they are, but not enough. Marina Shafir, I feel like she kind of is underrated based off of like what she does in the Death Riders, but I've seen her on the independent scene. She's pretty solid. Megan Bain is completely underrated. She's one of my favorite wrestlers. The Megasis, I would say, is underrated because she needs way more stuff. Mercedes Monet, I'd say put her in overrated because I feel like she obviously get them titles, but I don't think she really needs to have all those titles or be that person. I think she's definitely going to be taking up a lot of space from other people that could be having opportunities. Martinez, I guess correctly rated. She's not really used there. Mina Shirakawa underrated. She definitely needs more time on AEW. Mama Wayne, I guess correctly. She's not really a wrestler. Nyla Rose, I don't think she's even used in AEW anymore. I guess correctly rated. Um, Penelope Ford, I put her in the middle of the road. I really don't. I've seen matches where I don't think she's the best. I've seen matches where she's done pretty solid, but I don't think they're really expecting her to have that like 5-star classic. Is that the Queen? Yeah, that's the Queen. I think she's actually underrated. I think she should get a better push. Sky Blue, I think she's gotten much better, so I'll put her underrated. Red Velvet, she's done some pretty good work in ROH. I think I put her correctly rated. Riho, when ever she gets healthy, will be a force to reckon with. I think she's correctly rated because I think people think she's great. Ruby Soho, maybe correctly rated too. I honestly don't know like other people's opinions of people sometimes. Sabrina Deeb, I've never really liked her. I'm gonna put her a little overrated. I don't personally like her. That's Sky Blue. Who the hell did I just think the other person was? I don't even know where I put that person. Oh, right here. I don't know who that is. I'm gonna be honest. That's Sky Blue. And I'll put that there. Ty Mello, correctly rated. I don't know where if people think she's super good or not. Tyra Valkyrie, I don't think she's particularly super crazy. I maybe put her a little overrated. Thekla is definitely underrated. I think she's in the triangle of death or whatever, but I think she needs a little bit more of a push just on herself. Tony Storm, I mean, she was what the rated number one wrestler last year. I think correctly rated is pretty easy to put in there. Thunder Rosa, I think is slightly underrated. I think she's had some like backstage stuff that's kind of put her like not as much screen time, but I think overall she's still pretty good. Willow, another underrated person. I'm surprised she has not had a bigger role in there. Yuka, the magical girl, obviously is underrated. She does some really good work. Stephanie McMahon, I don't know why she's here. I guess correctly rated. I don't know. Tiff, what is Trish Stratus? So we got some legends. Correctly rated. I mean, she's a legend. Save it with Lita. Paige, correctly rated. I mean, that's all good. Gigi Dolan. So now we got some people that are been released. I think she's underrated. I think what she does in the independent scenes is great. I think they just never really could get her character correct on NXT. Same thing with Shotzi. Both underrated people. Um, AJ Lee, I think she's gonna be a surefire Hall of Famer, so I don't really think you could say anything lower than that. Kind of go from the rest. We got the Bellas. I'll wait on the retired people. Cora Jade and Billy Stark. Cora Jade, I think, is correctly rated. I think people think she's a solid up and comer, but needs to work on not being injured. And Billy Stark's underrated. She's been great. She needs more of a push. But yeah, that is my list. And tell me what you guys think. Until next time, it's been Japan. Bye, guys.